Okay, fight night Lewis Teixeira just wrapped up, so I'm going to go through this entire fight card, give my reactions to each of the fights, how they went down. Not a bad card, not as good as the last card with Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira. I think I went like 9-3 on that card, or 8-3. I went 8-4 on this card, so not bad. I started catching steam as like more of the main card started getting through it. Man, it was rough on the prelims, like back and forth. I mean, it was just a night of the upsets. It seemed like. So we're gonna go through some of those fights because some of them were a little bit odd to me. Like guys made some really questionable decisions. Especially some of the picks that I was pretty sure would win that fight fairly easily. So let's get rolling here. Starting with the main event, Lewis Teixeira. Listen, Black Beast does it again. I called this one. I knew it was going to happen. And I'm so glad it did happen because the pandering for Teixeira drove me freaking crazy. Like just the concept, oh, he's 6'8". Oh, he's finished all of his fights in the first round. And it's just like the whole time I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, but like who? Who has he finished in the first round? Because it's nowhere near the level of Lewis. Like, look, don't get me wrong. I know Lewis after this is calling for like, hey, I've never, I haven't fought Aspinall yet. Please don't do that to my man Derick Lewis. Please don't do it. That will be his execution. I know he has power. Aspinall has too much speed. Don't do that. But I mean, let's be honest. Like, dude, like this guy in Towson Teixeira, this was his first main event, second ever UFC fight. He's main eventing against Derick Lewis in front of 15, 20,000 people. He's got one knockout, one UFC victory, and people were just marketing the hell out of this guy, of his height, his finish rate, and it's like, I don't know. I just can't understand why. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a tricky guy, you know. That part where he had punched Lewis, I think he got punched in the eye. It had me nervous, right? That's how the fight started, right? Teixeira was kind of using his length, kind of what I thought he would do, come out, try to use the length. And then I think he clipped Lewis. He grazed his eye or something, and Lewis was like kind of stumbled back and was like a little bit, put off by it, which had me a bit worried. And then, Teixeira made a mistake of just coming in, had that chin up, man, and Lewis caught him, dropped him, was hammering on him. I don't know. A little bit of controversy in the stoppage. Like, I think Teixeira, I don't know. I heard he was like maybe trying to like get a pause in the action or something, like he thought he got struck illegally or something, and which is why they stopped the fight. Don't get me wrong, the stoppage didn't look the best, but there was more punishment coming. There was more punishment coming for him. Derick Lewis does it again. And I knew this was going to happen. Like, they get these tall guys in here, and they think these guys are just indestructible. Oh, well, I honest to God think the odds makers and the people that make the odds on these fights think that the guy, if he has a significant height and reach advantage, like his chin is just going to be out of reach for a guy like Derick Lewis. No, that chin is right up there. That chin is above him. That chin is above him no matter what because of the height. It's right there, prime for the taking for that big overhand. And I knew it was going to happen, right? I don't think Teixeira is a bad fighter. I don't think he's a fraud. I don't think he's been fraud checked. It's just like, dude, this was a tough fight to have in your second ever UFC fight, right? Tough fight. I think they moved this kid along too quick. I think he maybe should have had a few more tune-ups before he faced a guy like Derick Lewis, who has 16 knockouts now. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe this sounds a bit controversial, but like, I feel like Derick Lewis, you got to put that guy in the Hall of Fame, dude. I mean, wins over Curtis Blades, Francis Ngannou, which was a close fight, Alexander Volkov. I'm missing a ton. I could go through his entire resume. But, like, dude, he's got some serious heavyweight names on that resume. Obviously, he fought for the title against DC a while ago. So, I don't know, man. Like, Derick Lewis, maybe Hall of Fame. If you're going to put a guy like Donald Cerrone in there, you're going to put a guy like Uriah Faber in there, I don't know. Derick Lewis might be a Hall of Famer. So, not surprised by the outcome of this. Derick Lewis gets the job done in that one. All right. So, co-main, I had Gabriel Bonfim by decision. That's how it played out. It kind of played out how I thought it was I expected it to, right? I knew he was going to want to get in, get a hold of Stephen Thompson, drag him to the ground, try to control him. He didn't control him nearly as well as I thought. Stephen Thompson has definitely improved his grappling defense, or maybe Gabriel Bonfim just isn't that good. But, regardless, Wonderboy Thompson was able to get back to his feet a lot of the time, able to separate, go back to landing strikes. Man, he landed some nasty kicks to the head on Bonfim. He looked good on the feet, but I just don't think he did enough to win this fight. I do agree with the decision. The strikes are kind of, I don't know. I feel like they're a bit deceiving because I just feel like, those strikes were in certain moments of the fight, whereas the majority of the fight, I think Bonfim, controlled it. I will say, though, either way that this fight went, I don't think it would be a robbery. I just think it was that close of a fight. Wonderboy Thompson had his moments on the feet. Gabriel Bonfim closed the distance, had his moments. In the grappling exchanges, right? He dumped him a few times, had some good takedowns. Um, and yeah, I mean, honestly, I just don't think Wonderboy did enough to really solidify giving him that decision, right? I just think Bonfim slightly edged him in control time. It's just one of those fights where it's a game of inches, and I just think, Bonfim won by a game of inches, right? He got him down in the third. He had him controlled for like a minute of the fight. I just think that was kind of enough to get him out of there to squeak by the win, right? So, I thought it would be a little bit more dominant for Bonfim and one-sided, but Wonderboy has improved. Um, he's not as mobile on the feet though anymore. Like Wonderboy is not nearly as mobile as he used to be, not nearly as bouncy. He's still solid on the feet though, man. Like anybody on the feet, it's a hard night with that guy, regardless. But yeah, I mean, I just don't think he did quite enough in that fight. So Bonfim gets the decision. That's what I picked him by. So kind of it was an okay fight. Nothing really stood out there. So Bonfim is going to break into the top 15 now. I think he should be ranked 12th by Tuesday. We'll see what happens next with him. Calvin Kattar, Steve Garcia, man. I picked Calvin Kattar in this fight. I thought maybe he had one more good one in him. I didn't think Steve Garcia was going to come out that technical, that measured. I mean, dude, every time he would slip and rip, it was just nasty counters, man. Like nasty 1-2. I don't know if he broke Calvin Kattar's nose. Smashed his nose up in round 2. It was just clearly the boxing was too technical. Yeah, I mean, he had a speed advantage. Calvin Kattar, I don't know, man. I don't think he looked bad. I don't think he's the same as he used to be. I won't say he's washed, so I just think Steve Garcia was better, right? And I called Calvin Kattar to maybe get a TKO by one of those nasty elbows he likes to throw inside in the pocket in like round 3. And he did throw it. He threw a spinning back elbow that almost landed, but Steve Garcia was able to walk through the punches, slip and rip really nicely with his counters. And he was just clearly the better fighter, man. I mean, the guy's the real deal. He's going to be ranked now. So, yeah, definitely a guy to look out for in that division moving forward. So, yeah, that was the first one I got wrong there. Nate Landwehr and Morgan Charriere. A little bit different than I thought. I thought Morgan was going to lean into the grappling a lot more. He did go for a takedown at one point in the first round. Wasn't really able to control Nate. Dude, that fight was back and forth. Right, first round, second round. It looked like Nate was starting to take the momentum away, which surprised me because I thought Morgan would clearly just be the younger, more athletic, faster guy, and Nate was goading him into that freaking kind of brawl, kind of exchange, and he was exchanging with Nate. He was losing the exchanges, and then round 3 happens, and he just said "fuck it," just said "fuck it," and went in there swinging haymakers and caught Nate. Nate's got a lot of wear and tear, and ultimately his chin just couldn't hold up in that exchange, and he goes down. I thought Morgan would get a decision, but regardless, I got the pick right. Whatever. That was a little bit scary. First and second round, it was looking like Nate was really getting the momentum, but Morgan gets it back, and he needed this win, man. He needed this win. He's coming off a loss over Nathaniel Wood, so definitely a good win to get back from him because you can't be losing to Nate Landwehr, man. Like, you can't. I'm not saying Nate's bad, but that's a bad loss if you're Morgan Charriere. So, nice work to Morgan Charriere. He gets it done. Pretty good, solid finish in the third. Yeah. right, Vitor Petrino, Austin Lane. So I had Vitor Petrino by knockout. Goes in there and surprises me and gets him down and gets this first round submission, right? By arm triangle. Or, sorry, by rear naked choke. He had an arm triangle initially. Austin Lane got out. But yeah, I mean, kind of just out athletic and out strength Austin Lane. You know, he got in, he took him down, got him out like almost immediately and just controlled him and just completely dominated him. Landed some good punches. Austin Lane tried to scramble out of it, got his back taken, and Vitor didn't really have a fully sunken in rear naked choke, but I mean, dude, the athleticism and the power that guy has. I mean, that guy gets an arm around your chin. That's a wrap, man. Because like that squeeze is at heavyweight, man. I don't think it really matters if you get the arm under the chin or not. These guys are so powerful. They have such a vice-like grip at that weight that was all she wrote for Austin Lane. So I thought it would be a first round finish by knockout, but you know he gets the job done by first round submission. So he looks pretty good at heavyweight. It'll be interesting to see who they match him up with moving forward. Obviously, I'm not convinced yet, so we'll see what happens with Vitor Petrino. All right, Junior Tafa versus Tuco Tacos. Pretty frustrating fight to watch, in my opinion. I had Junior Tafa by, I think it was second round knockout. He was doing really good. Every time I was on the feet, he was landing big shots, especially in the second round, right? But Tuco just had that grappling advantage. And these guys, these Tafa guys, I said, if there's anywhere you're going to beat these guys, it's in the grappling. And it just blows my mind that these guys have been in the UFC for years now, and they just have not learned how to successfully grapple. You know, they haven't learned how to successfully grapple. They're really nasty on the feet. They land big shots. They hurt their opponents on the feet. And then when it comes to getting taken down, they're like a fish out of water, dude. You know, like he tried to scramble up a few times in the first, got taken right back down. Honestly, like when these guys, like a thing that drives me crazy when these guys try to defend takedowns in the UFC is when a guy will have them up against the cage and they're just trying to reach over and land elbows and then they get swung to the ground. Pummel the fuck under, jack them up, get space, or land an elbow once you jack them up and get them off your fucking legs. Like, I don't know what it is about these guys. They have such a bad habit of reaching over the body and trying to land elbows or trying to reach over and go for a Kimura. As somebody who used to wrestle, that is the worst kind of takedown defense ever. It never works. You're going to get taken down and you're going to get the shit beat out of you. That's just all there is to it. So, you know, I was counting on Junior Tafa to hopefully have some decent grappling. And yeah, I guess I was wrong with that one. Tuco Tacos gets his first UFC victory over Junior Tafa, who, you know, essentially just had next to no grappling in there. So that's what it is there. Max Griffin, Chris Curtis, man. Like, listen, close fight. I had Chris Curtis winning the decision here. That's what happened. I think throughout the fight, he was just landing the heavier shots, the better shots. Max was landing more volume, kind of similar to like Roy Vall versus Joshua Van. One guy's landing a significant amount of volume, the other guy's landing nasty power shots. Chris Curtis wasn't. Let's don't get it twisted. Chris Curtis was in no way, shape, or form landing the kind of shots Joshua Van landed on Brendan Royval. But you know, he was picking and choosing the shots a bit better. He was landing some decent shots and, you know, kind of just outpointed him and got a close decision. You know, either way, this was one of those fights that either way it went, I don't think it's a robbery. It was a super close fight. I thought Chris Curtis looked terrible, in all honesty. Like, I thought he looked slow. I thought he looked ploddy. He was just plodding forward, throwing shots. And, like, dude, like, we got to talk about how much this guy whines in every fight. If there's anything that's the biggest downfall for Chris Curtis, it's how fucking whiny the guy is. Like, every time he'll get poked or kicked, like, he'll stumble back and have this, like, really, like, what's it called? Like, offended look on his face. Like, and he complains and he'll be talking to the ref about it. It's like, dude, shut up. Sometimes the ref is just going to continue the action. You got to be ready at all times or you're going to get caught. You know, and then, you know, one of those in the first round where he was complaining about, I think it was an eye poke or a nut shot. I think it was an eye poke maybe. And then he, like, Went back to the cage and was throwing his hands up to the ref. Oh, ref, why don't you call that? And Max was landing on him, pushing him up against the cage, and I think he lost the round for that reason. So, it's okay win for Chris Curtis. I thought he looked terrible. I don't know how it shows he has one take down here. Oh, I think it was that foot sweep he hit Max Griffin with in the third, but he started picking things up in round two, landed a bit more than Max Griffin. I gave Chris Curtis the second round. I thought, he landed a bit better shots. I think Max Griffin might have had him on volume in the second. I'm not sure. And then in the third, it was much of the same. Chris Curtis, Max Griffin was slowing down. Chris Curtis was coming forward, had the foot sweep, was landing against the cage on him, on Max Griffin, and it was, it was kind of a shitty fight. Let's be honest. Chris Curtis looks terrible welterweight. I don't know if this was like the weight cut, but he looked slow. He didn't look like I'm used to seeing. He didn't have that pop that I'm used to seeing him have. Look, I get Max Griffin was moving, but whatever. Decent work by Chris Curtis. He outpoints Max Griffin. I don't know. Typically, like these guys, when they drop down to welterweight, we're like they have these incredible performances, and we have something to look forward to. We can be kind of excited for them, kind of get behind these guys at a new weight division. Like a Kevin Holland, who came down and looked great at welterweight, continues to look great at welterweight. I'm not seeing that with Chris Curtis, dude, because I'm going to be honest, it's a bad look. It's a bad look going life or death with Max Griffin, an unranked UFC journeyman. So, I guess we'll see what happens with Chris Curtis moving forward. Jake Matthews, Chidi, and Njokuani. I picked Chidi, dude. I honestly thought Chidi was going to be better everywhere. And that's what it looked like at the start of the fight. He was landing some nice body kicks, kicking the guard of Jake Matthews. They were nasty, snappy kicks. They were making a thud every time he was landing it. It looked like how I had predicted. He's going to keep long. He's going to keep long. He's going to be popping Jake Matthews with punches down the middle, 1-2 straights, maybe some knees up the middle, some nasty body kicks, eventually a head kick. I thought, that Jake Matthews eventually would get frustrated, try to rush in, and get caught by like an uppercut, a 1-2 down the middle, maybe a knee, something like that. And it started out pretty good for Chidi, and then I don't know, man. Like he gave his back to Jake Matthews all of a sudden, and Jake Matthews got on his back and choked him out within a minute of the fight. It happened so fast. It was like it was crazy. I don't know. Good win for Jake Matthews, man. I don't know. He looked good, right? Got the takedown, took him down super quick, got on his back, and choked him out. And that was all she wrote. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. Like typically, Chidi has good defense on the ground as well. He's a pretty well-rounded guy, but I don't know. Jake Matthews transitioned super quick, and this is just one of those things where a guy has a really good performance, and it is what it is. No shame in Chidi. I just wish he would have defended a bit better, and yeah. So that one sucks, but it is what it is. Nice work by Jake Matthews. Warren Murphy, Eduardo Mora. I picked Eduardo Mora by decision. That's exactly what happened. I knew she was going to be too strong, a bit too quick for Murphy. Murphy started. I credit to Lauren Murphy, man, for someone who's kind of really. Well, she's like 42 now, 41. Like someone who's clearly like you see these fighters when they're in their 40s start to get slow and stiff, and credit to her, she fought through it. She had a really solid third round. Like she came out guns a blazing, like won the third round. Looked really good. I loved her. I loved her post fight speech. I love the attitude. I love when she said credit to me for all the fucking work I put in. That was dope in my opinion. But unfortunately, she dropped the first two. It wasn't super dominant for Eduardo Mora, but she was just controlling the action. She was a bit quicker. Murphy was kind of plodding forward, kept getting caught. Got a takedown early, but Eduardo Mora was able to easily shuck her off, reverse the position, get on top, land some ground strikes. And yeah, I mean, youth was just a clear factor in this fight for Mora, right? But credit to Murphy for fighting through that. And yeah, I mean, pretty uneventful fight. Third round was cool. Unfortunately, Lauren Murphy just didn't have enough. That choke was super tight, though. Like, I remember sitting there watching that fight thinking, fuck, I'm about to drop another prediction here. But, you know, credit to Eduardo Morris. He fought through the submission, got the job done, and gets the victory. Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Walter Walker. This fight pissed me off, dude. Like, this fight pissed me off. Like, Kennedy Nzechukwu comes out all swaggy and, you know, in this weird ass stance, looking like, you know, like he's gonna be all snappy with the kicks and snappy with the shots. And it's like Walter Walker starts plodding forward, and his first thought is to just back straight up into the cage. Like, I just don't understand the decision making here. Because this was one of those fights where I was like, dude, he's gonna stuff the takedowns, which he did. I was like, he's clearly has the athleticism and the speed advantage, but it's like, dude, you cannot back straight up when a heavyweight is coming at you. You gotta angle off, man. You gotta cut angles. You gotta get the fuck out of the way. I mean, at this weight, anybody has that ability to hurt you with punches. And it's like Walter Walker just starts I don't know. He has like this fucking moment and just starts rushing forward. And Kennedy Nzechukwu is just backing straight up into the cage with his chin in the air and gets clipped. He gets clipped against the cage, and a little bit wobbled by Walter. And then Walter Walker shoots the takedown. Kennedy stuffs it. Credit to him, he did recover from the shot that he got caught with. But by the time he recovered, I mean, Walter Walker was already dipped down on the leg and just instant tap. Instant tap. Right? Like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm starting to think Walter Walker really does have nasty leg lock submissions, but like, I just don't feel like that transition ever would have been started had Kennedy not backed up into the cage straight like a dumbass. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, cut angles. So yeah, I mean, that was frustrating to see because I still believe Kennedy Nzechukwu could have won this fight had he have not made poor decisions. So it is what it is. Nice work by Walter Walker, dude. Crazy. 3 submissions. Heel hooks in a row. 3 heel hook submissions in a row in the UFC. One was over Junior Tafa. This was over Kennedy Nzechukwu. Good win for Walter Walker. Good couple wins, honestly. Even though the Tafa bros have no grappling. But it's a name. It's name value, okay? It's name value. So, nice work by Walter Walker. Frustrating to watch, though. Mitch Ramirez versus Mike Davis. I think I picked Mike Davis by... I can't remember if I picked him by KO or submission late in like the 3rd. Either way, he gets the finish. Don't get me wrong, Mitch Ramirez is tough. I knew he would be decent. I know he might have his moments in the fight. And dude, that second round, he was staging a comeback. He was landing some good shots on Mike Davis. Unfortunately, you know, the athleticism of Mike Davis, the speed was a bit too much, right? Like, first round, you know, he gets him down, he controls him in the grappling, uses that wrestling advantage, the strength, and the athleticism. Second round, he's getting clipped, but I mean, dude, he just had a speed advantage, he just had an athleticism advantage. Mitch Ramirez isn't a bad fighter by any means, but it was just like he was kind of out talented in this fight, right? Like Mike Davis I don't know. Mike Davis is a weird guy, dude. He moves weird. He looks like he almost has like this drunken master energy. Like he moves so weird and slow and awkwardly. Like it's weird to watch that guy. Like I'm like at certain points in that fight, I'm like, dude, is this guy already washed? He's pretty young, right? Like is this guy already washed? He's moving weird. Like he looks off, but you know he gets the job done. Knockout second round towards the end there, and yeah, not surprised there. I knew Mike Davis was going to get it done. That he did give me a bit of a scare though at the start of that second round because Mitch was coming back, but Mike Davis rips that momentum back from him and gets the job done like he was supposed to. All right, now the last fight. Fatima Klein, Melissa Martinez. I picked Fatima Klein by decision. That's exactly what happened here. I don't know. That fight kind of frustrated me to watch and listen to the commentary because they were big up in Melissa Martinez. They're like, yeah, she made it much more of a close second round. And I'm just like, dude, listen. Melissa Martinez does next to nothing in a fight. she does next to nothing. Like, she is the best defensive women's fighter in those lower weight classes that I've ever fucking seen, right? Like, but she does nothing. Like, her whole thing was back up, back up, back up, block, 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 1-2, back up, back up, back up, block, 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 1-2. Like, it was all counter punches. It was all backing up, circling, and Fatima was just pressing the action the entire night, right? Like, um, and yeah, like she was trying for takedowns. Melissa was defending it all, and these these commentators are all like, "Yeah, she made it much more of a close round. She started taking some momentum back." And I'm like, dude, what did she do? Like, she did nothing the whole entire fight. I feel like she was trying to counter, like every so often. Like, literally, that's all she was doing was countering. There was no offense throughout the entire fight from Melissa Martinez. It was Fatima trying to track her down, trying to find her, and eventually she did in the third because, like, Melissa Martinez, I realized through that fight that she was really good at countering the initial attacks. You know, she was good at countering those initial attacks. Like the first 1-2, she's good, but Fatima attacked with the first one. Well, I feel like Fatima was throwing a lot of initial strikes, like a jab or a straight, and Melissa was really good at countering and blocking and countering back. But that second one, it's not surprising that got through because she threw the right. And DC got this wrong, right? He said, how did you do that? You threw a left and a left kick on the same side. No, she didn't. She threw a left. Naturally, Melissa Martinez, because that's all she knows how to do is counter. Countered it. Not countered it, but blocked it. And then Fatima came up with a high kick. Wide open. She didn't even fucking see it coming. Caught her flush on the head. And that was all she wrote. Fatima gets the job done by KO. I picked decision. My bad. That's not what happened. It was a KO. But yeah, I think that's what finally got Melissa Martinez. Is she was really good at countering that initial 1 or 2 strikes. But I feel like Fatima disguised that kick really well because she came with the right. I think it was a straight. Maybe it was a hook. She came with the right, and then she went up high with the kick, and Melissa never saw it coming. So nice work by Fatima. Fatima is a good fighter, right? In terms of women's MMA, like, she's a decent fighter. Obviously, she trains with Aaron Blanchfield, so nice win there. All in all, not a bad card. Decently entertaining. Probably give it. I don't know. Looking back at these fights, I'll probably give it like a 7 out of 10. It wasn't great. It wasn't like holy shit, like UFC Tampa with Covington Buckley, like that card. It wasn't like that where you're like, holy shit, what an insane night of fights. It was all right. It was good for a full capacity crowd, right? It was better than being in the fucking Apex. So yeah, that was my breakdown of all those. Decent card, decent on picks. So until next week, right? Holloway, Poirier. Later.